So how long have you had your shop here?
This has been being put together for the last 7 years. It started out just outside in the rain and the snow and the sun, and I think it completed about 5 years ago. So it took a couple of years just to get the pieces.
And you, what was the original reason that drew you to blacksmithing and wanting to have your own shop?
I started out, so I'm a general contractor and I work on historic buildings. And so I used to come home and work on wood in the evenings in my shop. And they got really boring. And then I had friends who were blacksmiths, and I thought I could heat up metal and beat the hell out of it. And it sounded like a lot more fun for a hobby. And so it's just kind of something to do. So it just kind of drew me in. And like anything, once you fall down a rabbit hole, you can't crawl back out.
So this is set up as a really perfect one-man operation. Did you build this pot, or is this original?
It's not original, and I didn't build it. So originally it would have been cast, probably cast.
And you're using a Champion blower?
Yeah. It's a pretty decent setup. I like to have a little heavier box to it, just out of preference. And then I do demos and kind of take this thing on the road, and I've got a little 12x2 cavalry forge. It's portable. It all folds down into half a mule load, one box.
Huh.
And it's just the perfect little forge for taking it on the road for a weekend or a day or doing demonstrations.
Sure. Is that what you used to bring to the auction?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used that for years and years. That's actually a better forge than that. So as far as the fire goes, just the mechanics of it. So it's a little bit small.
Have you ever found reason to use two forges?
Sometimes I use my propane forge and my coal forge at the same time. So
And why is that?
the propane is down and dirty, quick and easy, and instantaneous.
Yeah.
The downside is it's expensive and it's loud. So if I need to crank something out quickly, I go and use my gas forge.
What kind of choices do you have these days for coal?
I'm pretty, everybody around here is pretty limited. You can either get junker coal, or you can drive to the valley and, I'm trying to think of who sells it. Ferrier Supply in Monroe.
Yeah.
Has really good quality Elkhorn Mountain coal. It's our highest graded coal, they high grade it. A little bit expensive, but I drive to the valley, I come back with a pickup load, and then sell coal around
A
here.
whole pickup load, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you describe the differences between that better coal and the cheaper coal you're talking about?
And the cheap coal, you won't get a hot fire, get a lot of clinkers. Clinkers are impurities that build up in the bottom of the fire and pull the heat out of the fire. You can have a really hot fire with a lot of clinkers, put your metal in there, your metal never gets hot because the impurity is pulling all the heat away. With this stuff, you get very few clinkers. So it's neat, it's clean, it burns well.
The way you build a fire, does it change for what you're going to work on that day?
Yes. If I'm just doing general forging, just heating up metal and twisting it, bending it, manipulating it, I'll use pine needles. Start a fire with pine needles. It starts really fast. It's cheap. I've got lots of pine needles around here. Makes good fire. But if I was going to forge weld, the pine needles put impurities back into the fire, and it makes dirty fire for forge welding. And so I'd start with paper and some clean wood.
Hand cranking it, as opposed to, say, having an electric blower? How do you feel about that?
Electric blower would be nice, particularly working on your own. When I started, the smiths I knew around Central Oregon all used propane or gas, and hardly anybody used coal, and probably half of the learning curve was learning how to manage a fire. It was harder to figure out how to manage my fire than it was to manipulate the metal. Having an electric blower would be nice.
Yeah.
It's noisy, but if you're going to be consistently working metal, it sure beats cranking by hand. A lot of people have thermostats or rheostats on them, so you can adjust the speed of the blower, so you're not just wasting coal. But it's also a good skill set to have. Learn how to hand crank,
Yeah.
maintain a fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's part of the rhythm of all of the work.
It is.
Can we watch you build a fire?
Sure.
And that's a Lithuanian match?
It is. It's an idiot's match. So this is gonna, if it works, it'll fill the building up full of smoke for about 3 minutes. As soon as I get some heat to it, the smoke disappears and we're working at a fire range instead of a smoke range. And it depends on what I'm doing to the size of the fire that I want. Once I get it going, I can either make a small fire for my smaller work, or I can get a pretty good sized fire going for my bigger stuff.
So when you move the city limits, do you think you're gonna have a special permit?
By the way, there's a clinker. And that's just melted impurities that are bonded together. And as far as a special permit, I never thought to ask.
And you're wetting that down, why?
I'm going to wet it down a little bit on the outside, keep it away from the heat, and I'm going to create some steam. And the steam is going to actually help get rid of impurities, clean up the coal a little. It's also going to make my fire more concentrated. And so what I'm going to do is start working my coal from the outside in and keep a bank of coal around the outside of the fire, and that's going to start converting coal to coke, and then the coke is actually what burns. And with that fire I can start forging right now. And the smoke will clear out of here in a couple of minutes as soon as the heat
No, that's
comes
just
up.
right.
Yeah.
Um,
And there's something about the smell and the whole process.
oh yeah.
And that's almost as fast as propane as far as having a good fire going and a good heat.